You can everything in your life up for the next 10 years. All you need to do is just make sure you can pay your mortgage. You can come back after cooking your whole life up for 10 years and you're still going to have an asset that is highly likely to be worth double or triple what you paid for it. The first day I made 100 grand, I was like, I just made in one day what I made in a whole year.
The day my life started was the day I started the business and I quit my job.
The thing that I wouldn't do is I wouldn't go buy an owner-occupied property. That is a trap. I can assure you, buying an owner-occupied property and taking on debt to do that is a trap to feeling broke forever. Shares and equities, I believe, are great investments as well. The issue with it, and the reason people don't build wealth with them for the most part, is because you need to be consistent with it. Okay, make sure you invest $200 a week for the next 20 years. You reckon they do it? No, because I want to go to Vanuatu next year, so I'll just pull the 200 away. With property, you can't do that. You have a mortgage to pay. It's a forced savings account. That's why property will win over shares. A lot of people who do it differently to me, and there's probably people who do it differently to me who have built much more than me, but no one who's as young as me.
All right, guys, this was another one of those episodes where I learned so much that my mind was blown. If you enjoyed that podcast I did a few weeks back with Graham, you're going to love this one. It's another one all about property and property investing with Jack Henderson. We actually talk about Graham many times on the podcast and refer to him. So if you enjoyed that, you're going to really love this. The first 30 minutes or so, we're talking about his journey with personal development, with property investing, how he earned his money to be able to be in the position to invest the way he has. And then the second half is all about how you can do it strategically, what areas to look at, what types of property, and how you can grow your own property portfolio and the best places and the best ways to invest your money moving forward. Obviously, it's not financial advice, but this is his process and how he's did it, and he's been really successful. 27 years old and he has $35 million property portfolio. So awesome episode. I'm going to definitely listen back to this one. Probably going to want to take some notes towards the end if you're at that point where you're ready to invest. But honestly, it was such a good conversation. I really enjoyed it. So we'll get into it a second, but can I ask a couple favors before we do? If you're watching on YouTube, could you like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already? We've got so many new guests coming up that I don't want you guys to miss because there's so much value coming in the next few weeks and months ahead. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, if you could leave a 5-star review, I'd really appreciate it. Helps the podcast grow. The bigger the podcast gets, the better the guests get, and the more value we can bring to you. So without further ado, let's get into the podcast. All right, we're back again. We've got another sick one around property investing and wealth creation. We were just chatting about Graham Home, G. He's a fucking legend in the industry. This one's going to be a little bit different, but we had such a good response to that. I think everyone in Australia is interested in building wealth through property. I agree with your sentiment that, for me anyway, like obviously the stocks and everything like that, and crypto is just gambling to me. I think property, in terms of the gains you can make, the ceiling and the safety of it, something I feel very comfortable with myself. And I think a reason for that, I'm not even though I'm an e-com guy, I'm not super technical. Like, I don't want to go and learn about all this blockchain technology and all that sort of stuff. It's like, people in property, you don't have to be that smart and you can make a fuckload of money. So I think it's an industry and a space I want to spend a lot of time in. But for those listening and watching, so today we have Jack Henderson in. He's the founder of Henderson Advocacy and Endeavour Build. I'm sure this has changed, but the last little figure I could find out on the interwebs was $23 million property portfolio at 26. So that was about a year ago. Pretty fucking crazy numbers, man. And I know from my research, you didn't grow up with a lot of money, and obviously growing up without a lot of money kind of, it often ignites that fire to make you want to go and get all that. So we'll get into some technical things and maybe some technical things about investing in property a little bit later on. But I think just for people listening, man, like particularly when it's anything around wealth or financial advice, if people don't know kind of how you got to where you are, they're less inclined to trust you. So I want to go in and figure out how you became Jack Henderson, who the person is today, the Flamingo Man, whatever they want to call you. But first of all, thanks for coming in, bro. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Cool little studio you got here.
Yeah, we do our best. Everyone thinks it's cool. I'm like, fuck, I want to do it so much cooler, but it definitely does the job.
Effective dose, I believe.
Yeah. So tell me, bro, when did all of this start? Like, I know you grew up in Western Sydney as well, right?
Wilberforce, yeah.
Yeah.
About an hour and 20 from the CBD. And like we didn't go with that when we were kids. It was a normal,
lower middle class sort of thing.
Mum and dad worked normal jobs, and we grew up what I thought was a normal household. We had an incredible support network in terms of like mum and dad. Yeah. My dad's a hard ass. He grew up at a hard ass, and then mum was always the nurturing one. That's like, you can do it, and dad was like, pound down the discipline in the household. But I had a normal upbringing. Yeah. And I was someone who was a very jealous kid, and I always wanted what I didn't have. You know, I was like the shiny object. You know, I was like, oh, I want that boat. I wish we had a house like that. I wish I could go to the private school. So I think that's where like the desire to be able to create that for myself come from. And then as you go through school and, you know, you go through different facets, right? Like I was deeply into motocross for many years. That was my life. I wanted to be a professional motocross racer. And then you realize that that's, you know, almost impossible to do. And, you know, I went through a stage where I wanted to do other stuff. And then eventually as you get older, you start to work out like really money's the gateway to most things in life. So I need to work out how the fuck I'm going to make a lot of money. And that's where the property investing thing come from.
So at what point, like throughout your journey, does that happen? I know you're expelled from a couple of schools. Why was that? What type of, because you don't seem like the guy, like, you know, I went to public schools in Western Sydney as well. People bringing knives to school, bringing their pistols.
Yeah,
you don't strike me as that type of guy.
Didn't have a knife or anything like that. And I wasn't much of a fighter. Like as you can probably see, I'm not a guy who looks like he wants to fight anyone. It was all distraction, you know, like, I did get in a few fights at school, but that wasn't the reason I got expelled. It was just like constant, like insecurity probably, right? And you're showing off, you're distracting constantly in school. You then get a name among the teachers that, you know, this guy's a smart ass and he always interrupts the class. And that's how I got, you know, booted out, or I got pleasantly asked to leave the first school essentially. Went to another school, Windsor High School, and then same thing. I was good for 6 months, and then you settle in there, and then you want to start showing off. And it's just like that. It was nothing like bad, but it was just not the behavior that is enticing to be at school.
What do you think it was? Because obviously it's something I can relate to, being probably a similar sort of wired guy, growing up in like middle-class family. Was it like, what were you acting out for? Like, what was that lack of? Was it you wanted the girls? Was it you wanted to be cool? Was it you wanted money? Kind of a little bit of everything?
Everything, man. The girls for sure, because I had acne and I wasn't that fucking good looking. I always say to my friends, I was like, man, when I grew up, I was Mr. Average. I was like, I was average at all the sports that I played or I did. I was like average looking, you know, and then they're like, is that want to be like, fuck, I don't want to be Mr. Average. You know?
I think that's a great driving factor for like a lot of people. Like I have a lot of conversations with people that have been successful in all different fields, whether it be business or creative areas or sports or whatever. And so often it starts with a chip on the shoulder, and people talk about ego and having a chip on your shoulder like it's a negative thing. But I think it's one of the best.
I still got the chip. Let me tell you, the chip's just gotten bigger.
The chip's gotten bigger and heavier. Right?
That's right. Yeah, but I think it's mate. Like I listen to a lot of content online, and Alex Hormozy for me is like someone that I'm balls deep in his content.
Have you seen his recent videos with him walking without?
He's
a
just
shirt?
so jacked, bro. And that's like it's purple cow shit,
yeah,
right?
he can barely move, bro. He's that big and jacked.
And he's just like everything is jacked. It's like his belly is jacked, his arms are jacked. But he spoke about a thing where he's like, if you wanted to create someone who was, you know, disciplined, you wanted to create someone who had a lot of grit, you wanted to create someone who like had all of these features. What would you do to create that person? And like often it's not like you wouldn't give them this cushy life where they had everything, they never had to want, they never had to go through adversity. It's like the way you would create and craft that person is you would put them through challenges, which over time would build that. And I look back now on like the way that I was brought up, the way that I felt in school, because I actually hated school because I used to get bullied a bit. Usually self-inflicted, like it, you know, it's like easy to bully. You're like, you want to be a smart ass and that, of course, people are going to come at you.
Yeah.
And by the end of school, man, I used to get like bad anxiety about going to school. Fuck, I hate this so much. And then that obviously, you know, sort of that encouraged the behavior of not wanting to be there. Before I left school, I literally wasn't allowed to go to any class. I had to go to when the bell rang in the morning to go to first class, I had to go to the principal's office and I sat at a desk at their front door from the first period, I call it. Wasn't it periods? Period one.
Period, yeah.
From period one all the way to the end of the year, and then to the end of the end of the day, and I just would go out for like research and then eventually the principal's like, "What are you doing here? Like, you don't want to be here. Why don't you just go and work?"
Yeah. Is that what you did? You left school and you were like.
Yeah, so I remember the phone call my mum got. Like you should come to the school and let's talk about your son. So
the phone call.
It was a table very similar to this. You know, the principal's on the side that I'm on. My mum and dad and I are on the other side, and then it's like, Jack shouldn't be here. Jack should not be at school. And all my mum wanted me to do was to get my school certificate. She's like, I'll take Jack out of school, but please promise me. What was it? It's called an 8. Is it an 8? Not 8 or not 8? Whatever the year 10 one was.
School certificate.
A school certificate? Yeah.
Because this is in year 10 that you left, right?
Year 10. Yeah. I was 15, I think. Anyway, so that was it. They said, yeah, pull him out of school. I didn't have a license. I didn't have a car. I remember I went to you know what a Winnebago is? Like a big motorhome?
Yeah. Yeah. The old school ones?
Yeah, like the new ones. Like I think the brand Winnebago, they build the motorhome.
Okay.
So anyway.
I'm thinking of the old school ones.
My dad's like, all right, we need to find you a job now. And I was like, I don't want to go work in construction. My dad
were you happy when you got expelled?
Yeah.
Or were you a bit fearful?
Yeah, no, I was happy. I was happy. So I was like, I finally
got what I wanted, right?
I finally have I just felt like I had my life then back in my control. Because when I went to school, you're like not in your control. School to me reminds me like of a jail system. You know, like inside of a jail system, you have the screws, all the people who are in charge of, keeping peace, which is the teachers in schools. And then there's like a hierarchy in the schoolyard. It's like you have the tough kids, the cool kids, you have like the hot girls, you have and it's like a hierarchy, right? Yeah. And I was at the bottom of that fucking hierarchy.
Yeah.
And I didn't like that.
Yeah.
So anyway, when we started to do like tours of like job applications and stuff, and I remember I went to the Winnebago factory, and Dad was like, "Well, how would you like doing this? You'll learn how to be an electrician, you'll learn how to be a bodybuilder, you'll learn how to do carpentry, you'll learn everything. You're gonna build a Winnebago, and you have all of these skills." And I was like, I don't know, fuck. And I was like $8 an hour or something as an apprentice, and I was like, fuck, that's depressing. Yeah. And I had worked a lot, so like during school holidays, I would go and work with Dad in construction. I had my white card, and I just lay before him. And then I had a job at a local vegetable farm. So I used to work there Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, I think. So I already had work. I already knew what it felt like to make money. And I was like, fuck, $8 an hour. I'm earning $20 an hour on this veggie farm on the weekend. Why would I go do that? That doesn't really make sense to me. And then eventually I just said, well, why don't I just come and work full time in the company that you work at, which was a civil construction company, quite a large company. And that was it, man. That was like the start of my earning career. And the great thing about that is I went into a job where it wasn't based on, what level of trade you're at. I was a labourer. So I got paid the same as a labourer got paid, whether they're 40 years old. So I started out on really good money. I was like 80, 85 grand a year as a 15, 16-year-old kid. I was like, lived at home, as most 15-year-olds do. I always get hate on social. So, yeah, you lived at home. I was like, fucking tell me how many 15-year-olds don't live at home, dickhead.
I don't even think legally you can live alone until you're at least 16.
No, unless you're like part of like the people who really can't live anywhere, which is very sad. But like most people live at home. And mate, that was it. I started working 15, 16, started earning really good money. Like I think I was clearing like maybe 11, 12, $1,300 a week, working 6 days, and that was the start of it. I was like, fuck, I've now got money. Money gives you freedom and choice to do whatever you want. And that was sort of the thing that then grew my obsession with building wealth.
Well, that's a big theme throughout your life. And I know definitely my life and a lot of people listening, the freedom to be the master of your own destiny. I feel like, and you spoke about school being like a jail system. Realistically, if I look back at the time that my life really began, corporate workplace is like a jail system too. It's exactly the same fucking thing. Yeah. You come in when they tell you, you have lunch when they tell you, you can only go to the bathroom if you ask. If you take too long, you're in trouble. And you work all day. By the time you commute to and from home, if you're lucky, you've got an hour before and 2 hours after, and then you're just looking forward to the weekend. You get to the weekend, it's Sunday, 4 o'clock, and you already start thinking about the next day and that dread comes in. It's the same thing. I look back at my life starting truly, and I didn't know this at the time. You can never know it. When you're in it, you just live in it, right? The day my life started was the day I started the business and I quit my job. And I think it's like, that's my method, out of the rat race. You've got yours and we're going to unpack all of that.
I'm not out of the rat race, don't worry.
Well, neither am I in terms of like, I'm still fucking doing a million things.
The fucking bank is the rat race now. They're like, where's my mortgage payments?
But that's by choice, right? But those are all by your choice that you've been able to do. So were you saving a lot of that money when you were 15? I don't know what you'd be spending.
Yeah, look, I mean, I spent money like a 15-year-old spends
Zappos,
money.
Super Dupers, all that
and
sort
like,
of shit.
Xbox and like I said, I was in motocross. So I'd fucking, as soon as a new helmet would come out, I'd buy the new helmet. Like I spent money on shit that normal people spend money on. But I just happened to save more than I was spending. So I had a balance that grew. And because I left at 15,
got a pretty good leg up on the rest of the people.
Yeah, well, I had like 3 years really before I could do anything with the money, right? Like I remember I bought my car. My first car was a Toyota Hi-Ace van. That was to put my motorbike in the back of and go racing. I was going to say,
why did you get a Hi-Ace?
Yeah, that was why. And I bought that. And that was when you get your P, 17. I was 17 when I bought that car. And then I didn't do any modifications. I wasn't really into that shit. I just like wanted a van so I could go racing. That was it. Yeah. And that's really all I spent money on. And then, by the time I got to 18 years old, I had a pretty not hefty, like less than 100 grand, but like a decent amount of cash, between 50 and 100 grand.
Yeah, that's pretty fucking decent at 18.
Yeah, but when like when I break it down, it is decent at 18. But if you start working at 15 and you're earning 80 grand a year as minimum, then it went up from that, like from 15 to 18. I probably, like when I got to 18, I was probably earning 100 grand a year. So like to save that amount of money over that period of time, I still wasted a lot of money.
A lot of fucking money.
You know, it wasn't that much saving. It was maybe like 30% of my income a year.
You mentioned like you were a little bit bullied in school, and that's part of the reason you lashed out and wanted to get out of there. But I know you also speak about having a lot of self-belief. Did you have the self-belief in school, or did that start building after in this period?
So it started in school. So
is that all right, Yuri, the direction he's speaking?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
So it started in school because my brother actually got bullied a lot. And I used to see what happened to him, and it was fucked. Like, it's a terrible thing. And the great thing about bullies is, like, I look at all the bullies now and I'm like, hey, when you get out of the schoolyard, bullying changes. You know, bullying is how much cash you've got to be able to make moves. You are getting bullied right now.
Yeah. If I look back, I would think, I don't know where they all are. If I look at the bullies from my school, I'm sure they're now at the fucking bottom of the food chain.
Of course, that's right. And that's the dichotomy, right? It's like,
you
when
peaked in
you're
high
out,
school, brother.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. That's exactly right. So that's where it started. And then the self-belief thing started, but like me looking at what happened to him, and I was like, okay, the reason that he gets bullied is because when he gets bullied, he can't do anything to stick up for himself. Like you get bullied off bigger people, like you can't really do fuck all, right? You get thrown around, you get punched, all the rest of it. I was like, okay. So I started doing Muay Thai when I was in school, and I was like, that's the self-confidence thing. So like, when I get bullied now, people don't know that I know I'm not fucking I'm not George St. Pierre or Conor McGregor, but like like if you know a little bit more than someone who doesn't know anything, you can look like you know how to fight. And I got in a few fights in school, and fortunately, I come out on top of those fights, and that's the thing where you're like, okay, that's a bit of self-confidence.
You've got a bit of a Muay Thai build actually about you, the long legs and long arms.
Yeah, I used to train with a guy by the name of Jason Sherry, who was like a world champion.
Yeah. I think just on that, like, dude, everyone and everyone's kids should be put into martial arts for the confidence and the safety.
For sure. I think that's true. A lot of people do Brazilian jiu-jitsu now, which is scary.
It's like our other producer who like does all our bookings and stuff, he's got quite into that. But for me, it's like I'm like a 3rd degree black belt. I've been doing like martial arts for like eight years, and it's like I've always also like I was like redhead, freckle, skinny kid. Like I wasn't a cool kid in school. I did really well to blend in and somehow have cool friends and do enough with like the girls that I, and not get bullied too much. But so my school was fucking blending in. I didn't want to stand out. But so I always had that confidence. But then it's like something different when you like know how, like if you get into a fight or someone jumps out and you can handle yourself, like that feeling that you get. And like, I never thought I would do martial arts as the type of person I am in school. I was never into that. But that feeling that you have when you walk down the street and you just feel like fucking completely physically safe.
Yeah.
That's like a gift, man. And money can't buy that.
If you don't want to learn martial arts, a handgun does a similar thing.
Yeah.
Which they use a lot. There's a lot of people that do that too.
Yeah.
Where were we going with that? So that was the thing. That's the thing that started the self-confidence. Yeah. And then it's like, it's the little things you do on a daily basis that reinforce self-confidence. And just as quick as you can reinforce it, you can also undo it. Because no one cares, and when I say no one, yourself included, you don't care about what you did yesterday. So I'm really into running now, right? Like heavily. I did a 100-mile run 2 weeks ago. I did a 100K run on the weekend. And
so that's that recent?
Yeah. Like I did a 100K on the weekend, and then the weekend before I was in Linda's Rage, I did a 100-mile, which is like a 27-hour run.
That's fucking mental, man. When did this start, like all these massive physical challenges start?
Well, that's all the stuff that like stems off the back of it, right? Because there's levels. So it's like you start out by doing one thing, and then it like, okay, you do a little bit more, and you do a little bit more. It's the same with property. It's the same as business. Like what you think is incredible when you start and what is actually incredible as you start to get through, the levels of the game is like crazy. So that's how you build confidence. It's by in my opinion, and how I've built confidence, just like continuing to do something and then going, okay, what's the next thing above that? And then doing that. And then what's the next thing above that? And then doing that. And then doing that. And then, I'm definitely not the master of sticking to my word, because a lot of things I say I'm going to do and I don't do it. But generally speaking, personally, when I say I'm going to do something for myself, I do that thing.
So what does preparation look like to run an ultra marathon? Like how long are you prepping in the
Just
lead up to
consistent
that?
running. So like I set a challenge at the start of the year. This is off the back of me running now for like 3 or 4 years. But at the start of the year, I was like, I'm going to run a minimum of 6 kilometers every single day for 365 days this year. So it's the 6Ks a day is not a big thing, right?
Yeah.
But it's a consistency of like, I finished the office at 8 p.m. Oh, fuck, I've got to go running now. I don't want to go running.
Yeah.
So I was like that sort of stuff. And then, I started off running, I think, maybe 2019, 2020, I did a half marathon was my first one. And then from a half marathon, you go to a marathon. It's like the levels, right? You go from a marathon. Then I did my first ultra marathon was 2 years ago. It was a 60K ultra down on the Great Ocean Road. So I did that. I actually missed one of the cutoffs. I only got 55Ks. And then from the 55, I went to a 100K ultra, which was down in Tasmania. But then between the 55 and the 100, you're doing like, some bigger runs in preparation for that. And then from the 100 to the 100 miler. And then, I'm going to do a 200 miler now in March.
What's the mental game like when you're on a 160K run?
It's terrible.
Like,
it's the worst thing in the world.
like
wanted to cry.
What's the internal battle that you're fighting to not stop? And when does that kick in?
The internal battle. So the interesting thing I got from the 100 miler was I was winning the race from K1 to K55, 60. And K55, 60 is when it went from daytime to nighttime. Because in a 100 miler, you run overnight.
Yeah.
So I went from daytime to nighttime. I'd never run in the night outside of like running around the streets. And when you're I'm not sure if you know where the Flinders Ranges is, but it's like halfway between
desert,
Adelaide and the Northern Territory. It's like the desert. That's right. So when it's dark out there, it's fucking dark.
Yeah.
So I'm out there. I put my little Kmart head torch on and like it lights up from here to that door in front of me.
Yeah.
And it's like unmarked as well. It's not like you've got things everywhere and there's people. So you've got to self-navigate on a watch. So I'm like running in the middle of fucking nowhere with no one around and it is so dark and I start wigging out. I'm like, fuck, I'm not underprepared for this. And then your brain starts telling you all the reasons why you got to stop.
Yep.
You're not underprepared. What are you going to get lost? What happens if you're out here? Blah, blah. Anyway, so I ended up getting lost. I went off track. My watch is telling me off track. And because it's GPS, I'm like looking and then I'm like, okay, I got to go this way. And then I'd run and be like, off track. I'm like, fuck me. And then fortunately, that was third place by then was running past. And this is Chick's a world champion.
Yeah.
She runs past and I'm like, fuck. I'm like, I was lost. Can I tag with you? And she's like, yeah, no worries. To the next aid station. Get to the next aid station, which is the 80K aid station. So I'm halfway through. It's about 8 p.m. And we have a motorhome. I walk into the motorhome to my missus and I'm like, hey, I'm just going to go to sleep tonight. And I'll wake up in the morning and finish the race. Because you didn't have to finish until Sunday. We started on the Friday at 11. She's like, no, you're fucking not.
Yeah.
Like, you come here to finish the race. You're going to go out there. I'm like, no, like my head torch is fucked. I'm going to get lost out there. Like you don't understand. It's scary. She's like, yeah. Anyway, she kicked me out of the van. She said, go on, fucking run. So, I found a way. I was like, okay, my head torch is no good. And I had to tag along with people so I could, sort of bounce off their head torches. And the thing that I got from that, and then there was like multiple other things. Like I was running just as it come to morning and like a big blister on my toe burst and it just felt like someone stabbed me in the fucking foot with a knife. And I was like, oh, fuck. I had to pull over and then I was like, nah, that's it. I'm 120 Ks in now. I'll stop. That's enough. She's like, no, you won't. Get up. Move. Anyway, you make it to the end. And I ended up coming fifth in that race, which blew my mind. So I didn't think I was going to finish. And the interesting thing was like I reflect back and I'm like, it's like such a good correlation to life because it's like there was so many times during that run, which is 27 hours. You got no headphones. There's a lot of time to fucking talk to yourself, right? Yeah. And it's just like you often want to give up so much before or so much, before you actually will give up or should give up, right? Or often you don't even need to give up.
What your capacity actually really is.
You said it much more, much better than I did. But that's the reality. Is like often you mentally you will give up much too soon. And then I ran the 100K the weekend after.
What was harder?
The 100 miler was by far harder.
Okay.
The 100K head noise started much earlier because my body was still so
I think you're still absolutely.
sore.
Dude, I ran a half marathon and I was like fucking sore for a week. I was like.
Yeah, my body was fucked, man. Like it was really, really sore. My feet were cooked. But I committed with a friend. I said, I'm going to do it. And I fucking did it. In my head, I was like, fuck, I'm not going to finish this thing.
What do you get out of these challenges? Is this like a David Goggins inspired Endeavour?
It's definitely inspired from that whole mentality, right? It's like you learn so much about yourself and it builds self-confidence. Like the thing where I said before, you can often undo self-confidence as well. If I would have given up in either of those races, your self-confidence lowers.
Yeah.
So it has a negative impact. You're like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have run this.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not the person I thought I was. And that's what I get out of it. It's just like, it's the mental challenge. The physical challenge it is what it is. But like, if you can run a marathon, you can run 100 Ks. That's the reality. It's between a marathon and 100 Ks. There's nothing to do with.
It's all mental.
It's all mental.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Literally all mental.
But these are like really big things, right? Like, and I can't remember who said this on the podcast, but it's like, because I ask this question a lot, self-confidence, if you're in any form of business, whatever you want to do, is such a key aspect of that. And a lot of people aren't lucky enough to be blessed with it naturally. So they have to really work to build it brick by brick.
Anyone is built, like, I don't think anyone's born, from my perspective, with self-confidence. I think like you're nurtured to have self-confidence with good parenting. But like everyone has insecurities. I don't give a fuck if you're the most self-confident, in quotation marks, person ever. You may be self-confident in certain areas of your life, but if you're put in an area where you aren't the big dog, you're going to be not so confident. Of course,
yeah. Like where I was going was like, these are really big things. And you're at the stage now where you need to do these big things to really level up or prove to yourself that you can go to the next level. But it all starts with the small things, like what you said, keeping your word to yourself. When you say you're going to do something small, if you say you're going to wake up at 6 a.m. and go for a run, wake up at 6 a.m. and go for a run. If you can do that consistently and then you're like, fuck it, my next challenge is this, or I'm going to do this, then you start building confidence based. And this is like Hormozi, like stacking these little accomplishments until you're like, I am who I say I am.
It's true.
And then that's self-confidence that if you take one brick out, you're probably not going to crumble all the way back down to the bottom, right? Just a quick one from me. If you've been listening to the podcast for a while, you'd know that after scaling Happy Skin Co. to over $10 million per year, I spent close to 18 months creating the Viral Brand Builder program, which teaches someone with zero experience how to launch and scale their very own e-commerce brand. With over 100 training videos and direct access to me, including one-on-one calls, you'll be guided throughout the entire process. Now, we already have a bunch of incredible results from students that are making multiple 5 and 6 figures per month. So if you want to learn how to build a business that has the potential to completely change your life, then click the link in the description and book in an application call today. Spots are limited as you'll be speaking directly to me. So hopefully I'll chat to some of you soon. But until then, let's get back to the podcast.
Yeah, and I think it's something that is a lifelong. It's not like something where you can just build self-confidence and then tick that box. I've now got self-confidence.
I've got that forever,
right? Because you see it all the time, right? Some of the most successful people in the world in their certain fields, whether it's business, whether it's a certain, sporting discipline, you get to a point and they can peak. And the issue I feel is that they peak because they stop doing what they did to get to where they were. And then they get there, they're like, box ticked.
Yeah.
What now? Where it's like the never-ending work is really the accomplishment.
It's really easy to do as well when part of that accomplishment has given you a lot of money, so you don't need to be as hungry as you used to be. And that was a question I wanted to ask you. It's like, I definitely had that as well. Like, I want to have money because money buys the opportunity to do whatever you want. And like, in terms of like what I want out of my life, I want to have as many cool experiences that not a lot of people get to do while I'm here. I think like you get one life. I want to maximize it and wake up every day and be able to do the things I love as much as possible. But like once you get a little bit of money, you really need to rewire and think about, what do I really want? Now that you've got a little bit of financial security and you could take a few years off work and blah, 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 what is that for you? And did you have to go through this new mental shift when you built a lot of wealth and you're like, fuck, I'm not that kid that doesn't have it anymore.
Yeah.
Like, are you still really driven by the money, or because I'm sure you could fucking.
Yeah, I am for sure. Like, the thing that I had, the challenge I had with money, is like, if you're a young male, partying is like a pretty common thing. You party, go out, get on the whatever. Usually people stop that when they have a capacity to what they can spend. Most people stop gambling when they run out of money. Most people stop doing drugs when they run out of money. Most people night ends when they run out of money. I went through a stage where the night never had to end. And I spent a lot of dough, like a short period of time, like probably 6 to 12 months of my life, where I really started to make dough. Like I was doing $100,000 days and multiple $100,000 weeks. Like, and when you don't really have a lot of expense, it's a lot of fucking money, right? Yeah. Especially when you come from earning $1,500 a week. And yeah, that was the thing that I needed to control, because what I learned, and I've since had, lots of different people in my world, both friends and just people that you meet, who have had similar experiences where like all of a sudden you don't have a limit.
Yeah.
Most people are limited by a financial constraint. When you don't have that, you sell a business, you've got all these resources, the little demons that, you know, used to be kept at bay. It's like the saying, it's like, I've never cheated on my partner. You know, people say that. And it's like, yeah, because you've never had the opportunity to cheat on your partner because you're ugly as fuck. You know, like if you get 3 hot women put in front of you, it's much harder not to cheat. That's probably a bad example, but just like in the whole theory around that, right? Well, it's like, I can't understand people who are drug addicts. It's like, yeah, well, if you had 0 responsibilities because your life was completely set up, you had unlimited resources, and you didn't have to worry about getting up tomorrow for work, it's much easier.
I don't understand that. Like, I don't understand. Like, you know how people, you see people that win the lotto and then like they're fucking 3 years later, they've lost it all. They're drug addicts. They're out on the street.
I get it.
I don't get it.
I understand it. I mean, that for me, I had to control that because I knew that was the thing that would bring me undone. Is like, I'm naturally like wild at heart.
Yeah.
And you add a little bit of fire to that, which is, you know, a bit of money to it, and you can go one or two ways. You can either blow the lights out, or you can like ruin your life.
So what is that personal development journey? And after this, I definitely want to get into the property and investing growth journey as well. But while we're on this, what is your personal development journey? I know that's a fucking wanky word, right?
Yeah, my personal development journey,
it has to have aligned with what you've done financially and with the business, right?
So I did, my first year where I earned really good dough was like 2019. And that was probably the year where I was like pretty loose, you know, like very loose. And then I had a coach at the time, and I was the end of 2019, and I said, I was at a coaching call with him, and I said, what's one thing I can do next year which is just going to dramatically change my business and my life? And he said, go sober. I said, fuck, okay, I'm not paying you all this money not to listen to what you say. So, man, like from January 1 that year, I stopped drinking and I stopped doing drugs for that 12-month period. And fucking what he said worked.
What was your output difference like, and how long did it take for you to feel
my business
different?
3x'd. There was a multitude of reasons, obviously. Like the marketplace was great, you know, COVID happened, but like that could have been like a fucking time bomb, you know?
Yeah.
So I did that. Like I went sober. You know, I spent a lot of money on coaching and getting around the right people. And, you know, I think like everything, as you start to level up, like your circles get, you have different conversations. I find, with people that are way more successful than me, I can have much more vulnerable conversations with those people. And I'm surrounded by people who I'm a very, very small fish in comparison to a lot of my friends. So it's much harder to have the same conversations with people who are, in quotation marks, less successful than what I am.
Why do you think that is? Because I think I would be the same. Have you analysed that about yourself?
Yeah, I think it's because people wouldn't understand.
Yeah.
You know, like people who haven't been where you are don't understand what you're going through.
Can't really give advice up.
Yeah, that's right. So like people who are much greater than I've been through those, you know, levels or up those stairs, you can be like, fuck man, I'm really struggling with this and blah, blah, blah. Like, and they can share those experiences. My coach that I had at the time who shared the thing with going sober, you know, he grew 0 to $50 odd million a year in revenue, fucking massive party boy, and then also crushed his business and it, you know, blew up and he went bankrupt.
Yeah.
Drugs, alcohol, women, all the rest of it. So I'm like, you've been there and done it. It'd be stupid of me not to take your advice.
Yeah,
you know?
he knows where this can go if you don't.
That's right. So yeah, that's it. And it's continuous, right? Like, fuck, I've still got the demons. I think everyone has their demon, their like outlet, their thing that, you know, they probably don't tell anyone that.
Yeah. But that's where it comes back to a choice. It's like we all have our vices or things that, you know, you innately really wanted or craved growing up, and they probably never really go away, but you learn. It's like choices, like what's more important to you now, you know?
Yeah, that's right.
And I think it's a decision you face with every day, particularly as like a successful male with money, and, you know, can be very easy to, you know, have your eye turned by different opportunity, women, fucking drugs, like you said. But it's like, what do you really want? And that's why it's like...
What does Charlie Munger say? The 3 L's, ladies, liquor, and leverage.
There you go.
Ladies and liquor. Leverage, I don't believe him in. Leverage is good.
So let's get back to the property stuff. So you had some money, good money saved from working pretty early.
Yeah.
When did you buy your first property, and what does that look like?
Bought it at 18, just before I turned 19. 2-bedroom apartment in the suburb of Coogee in Sydney.
So your first property in Coogee?
Yeah, $720,000, which was the same price as what I could have bought a house for where I grew up. Yeah. So again,
I imagine you've done well on that.
I've done okay. I've done much better at other assets, but yeah, it was the foundation that was the building block for everything after that. But I did that because, again, I listened to someone who was more successful than me. Like I found a mentor in a guy by the name of Chris Gray. He had the portfolio, he had the lifestyle, he had everything that I wanted. And I was like, I'm going to listen to this guy.
Yeah.
And that's what he invested in. He invested in low density, blue chip apartments in the eastern suburbs of Sydney. I didn't even know what the fucking eastern suburbs was.
And that's, I think, one of the cheat codes as well in like getting ahead in any area of life. Like find other people that have done it and fucking watch them and learn from them. And if you can, surround yourself with those people. And I know I was listening, I'm doing a little bit of research on you, and like the way when you were just getting started in the game, the way you used to like, I say this in the best possible way, weasel your way into the circles of these really successful people.
Mate,
it's quite strategic and thinking outside the box.
Weaseling, absolutely. I was ultimate Mr. Weasel.
So give me an example of like one of the times you were able to get yourself access to these people and how you achieved that. Because I think not a lot of people think like this, like, oh, I cannot connect myself to them. It's, it's a closed circle. I'd never be able to do it. But you just need to think a little bit differently.
Money opens all doors, I can assure you.
Yeah.
And when I say that money opens all doors, there's levels to that again. So like my first thing where I bought myself into a circle, which was I found online that Chris Gray was auctioning off his time. Prior to that, I'd seen him at seminars. I'd talked to him on Facebook and shit like that. And I was like, bang, won it, $1,500 to go to a lunch. And $1,500, when you earn $1,500 a week, I'm paying my whole weekly wage to go and have a 1 hour lunch with this guy. And then I was like, fuck, what's the worst case scenario of this?
Yeah.
It's full experience. And the best case scenario is unlimited ROI. So I paid $1,500. I went and had the lunch with this. It's like a well-documented story. Off the back of that $1,500 lunch, Chris goes, hey, we've got a super yacht party next week. You should come with your partner. And I was like, it's a great idea.
Yeah. You let me check my calendar.
I'm like, man, I'm busy that day, but I thought I'll make a few changes. And like, you gotta think, I'm a kid who grew up in the western suburbs of Sydney. A big boat to me was like a Haynes Hunter on the river, Now I'm on a 130-foot fucking super yacht Ghost 2, which is Anthony Vella's boat. And like, I feel like a rock star.
Yeah.
And this is like this self-confidence thing, right? Because it's like I paid for the lunch. I ended up on the boat and I'm like, this shit works. Like if you could have a direction for life as to whether you're in the right or the wrong direction, this is the right direction.
Yes.
So I'm like, I need to do more of this.
Yeah.
It was like a behavior that was fulfilling itself. So I did that. And then off the back of that, I met another guy on there who worked with Chris. His name was Lewis. Anyway, added him on Facebook. I used to do that all the time. That's a really good hack for people. It's like when you meet people in real life, connect with them online. Like even if you're not like, chummy, but like make sure you're liking their photos, commenting on their shit. You just want to be
Staying
that.
relevant,
I was that guy. I was the guy who you'd always see his name as a comment. And people see that shit, right? Like I know people who comment on my stuff. I don't know who the fuck they are, but I always see their name. And if they come up to me in public and said, I'm that guy, I'd be like, oh, you're that dude.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I met this guy, and then off the back of that, I add him on Facebook. I see a post, I don't know how many months later, but I see a post on Facebook. We have one of our boats on the harbour. There's a boat on the harbour that we're in. A few friends own it, and one of the guys wants to sell his share. It was like 30 or 40 grand for a share in a boat. And I was like, that's my next ticket.
Yeah. That's a bit more than 1,500, but I got.
And I was like, fuck, I don't have that much money. And I'm like, oh, well, you got to take a punt. So I went to ANZ. I got a personal loan.
What did you say it was for? Did you it was legit for this boat?
Fuck, I don't know.
Yeah.
What did I say?
That's crazy to go get a loan like that when you don't have that sort of money just to get in with the access.
I would have had about that amount of money in the bank, but I'm not putting all of my cash in this fucking thing. Anyway, so I go and get a personal loan from ANZ. I buy a share in this boat. 2 weeks later, I'm now on the harbour. It was a Chris Craft 32. I would buy that boat back in a heartbeat today. It's a fucking sick boat. 2 weeks later, I'm on the harbour with all these people, and I'm like, it's working. Yeah, it's working. Like during the week, I'm in fluoros, and then on the weekend, I'm like a pretend millionaire.
Yeah. So you're still working construction at this time.
Yeah, like I would, and then like off the back of that, I met a lot of these people that were a part of a group called the Entrepreneurs Organization. I'm not sure if you've heard of that before.
EO, right?
Yeah. It's like a part of YPO, EO. So I'm meeting all these other people, and then I get invited to all these other things off the back of it because you're out with people and they're like, oh, we got this thing next week. You should come. And no one knew what I did. As soon as anyone asked me what I did, I work in mining. That's all I said. I left out the bit where I'm like, I work in mining. I'm an operator. I wear fluoros and I get super dirty. And that was it. So then I'm out for dinner with these people. I'm on more boat parties, and I'm just like, all of a sudden, I'm surrounding myself with these people just by like taking initiative. So there was like multiple times where I'd like finish work on a Friday and have something on a Friday night. I'd drive from Newcastle down to Sydney, book some hotel, stay at the hotel, get all spruced up, go out for this dinner, go back to my hotel, usually blind drunk, wake up at fucking 4 a.m. on Saturday morning, and then drive back to work on Saturday to the mines. I remember that period of my life so clearly.
You feel like that was the time like your life really started to change?
I could see it changing.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
could,
like
I could
visibly,
visually,
right?
like, my actual life wasn't changing, but like what could happen in the future, I could see changing.
That's what I said while talking about to you off air. Like, yes, we launched and we did over 12 million in our first year, but it started 2 years before that.
Yeah.
You can feel it. You're finally fucking stepping out of what you used to be and towards what you want to be and what you're going to be.
Exactly right. And again, more confidence, right? You're meeting more people. You're like, fuck, I can be friends with these people. I don't know what I mean when I say I work in mining. Like, I'm actually a construction worker. And then, man, like, there's been so many things like that, you know, like recently, now it's obviously at a different level, but like I fucking paid $50,000 US to go to Richard Branson's island.
Oh yeah, I know a few people have done that.
6 months ago or something, and it was 12 months ago now. Fuck, that's a lot of dough, right? $50,000 was just for the ticket, then I had flights and everything else, and I'm like, say it cost $100,000 to go on this trip.
Yeah,
you meet Branson and 30 other heavy hitters on that island. What do you reckon the ROI is going to be?
Crazy.
You know, and I think that's the thing. Like, it's you start small, and then all of a sudden you continue to do more and more shit like that. Like the other day, I went and toured the Sydney Football Stadium, the new gym there, and it's like, how much is this? It's $22,000 to join. And I'm like, $22,000 to join a fucking gym, and I'm like,
What are the sort of people you're going to meet in that
exactly
$22,000 gym? Right?
I meet one client here, and all of a sudden, $22,000 is paid for itself 10 times over.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I think that's the thing. Like, I'm the same with cars. So, like, ever since I could afford a good car, I have. Like, my first car, I had a Mercedes, and then I got an Audi R8, and then I got a Mercedes GTR, and then I got a McLaren, and just buying a Bentley now. And again, that's obviously a look thing, but then at the same token, it's because when you have things like that, you can hang around with people that also have things like that, and you're looked at as a level playing field.
Yeah.
I think that's a super
it's
important.
like the knowledge, the exposure, the opportunities that can come off the back of that. But you have to pay for access always.
It's pay to play, man. It's a pay to play world. That's the reality.
That's life, right?
And that's I'm not saying that works for everyone, because there's, you know, you look at all these tech entrepreneurs and like people who have made it heavy, and often, you know, they have come from humble beginnings, but on the same token, a lot of them have been well connected. You know, like Mike Cannon-Brooks grew up in the eastern suburbs. You're around those people. You go to their access is paying $30,000 a year to go to Scots College, right?
Yeah.
Like, they're around all these people. A lot of the people who build these big companies have some level of connection, you know, like Scott Farquhar. I met Mike Cannon-Brooks because they went to the same university together. So like, that's their connection, and then it grows off the back of that. Where I didn't have that. I left school at 15. I worked in construction around people who, you know, were very far from what I wanted to be.
Well, that's why I love this podcast, and what I love to do is, like, everyone has had their own method. It's like, it's for this podcast, it's just about people that have, you know, decided at some point in their journey to reject the ordinary, to say, you know what, this isn't for me. I know I want more, and this is what I want to do. This is what my passions are. I'm going to go in that direction and do it, and unpacking how they did it. I told you how I did it off air. I worked a job, didn't necessarily love it, saved a bit of money, enough to, you know, buy stock for a product that I wanted to sell, found a really good product, and then, you know, my life's changed forever. It's not like my life has changed forever because of that one business, right? Yeah. So for you, that's my method. I'm trying to understand your method, and it's going to be different for everyone. Some people listening will be like, fuck, I'm going to do what Jack did. You know what I mean? That sounds for me. Some people are like, it's not really my path, but there'll be certain chunks and things that you've done that, you know, and that's what, like, anytime you're listening to a podcast, you're having a conversation, you're getting advice from people, like, everything you need to run through your own internal filter of what you think is good for you, right?
That's exactly what I did. Like, all I did was I consumed so much content. Like, I would watch on Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights when I was like 16, 17, it was just YouTube.
Yeah.
Watching your Warren Buffetts of the world, watching like the sports people, like just listening to all this shit until I found a message, which was Chris Gray's message, that just, I was like, that's me.
Yeah.
Like, everything that he did was what I wanted to do. And then I just copied that.
Yeah. See, that was Gary Vee for me. And it's like, because I grew up in the suburbs. Like, I said this we had a podcast yesterday. When I thought about having a business when I grew up, it was, you know, you're a Sparky, you're a barber, you're at a cafe. I didn't fucking know all the infinite possible. I wouldn't know about being a buyer's agent. I didn't know about e-com obviously back then. I didn't know about any of that stuff. It's only when you change the information going into your ears, and sometimes it's friends, sometimes it's podcasts, sometimes it's not fucking watching Netflix. It's
so true,
it's watching specific things, you know, on YouTube or fucking Gaia or whatever that fucking thing is. You need to change the information you put into your body, because that's going to become a reflection of what you do on the outside and move forward with.
It's the messaging. Like, it's 110%
everything's
messaging.
programming.
It's true, man.
If you're listening to this podcast and you listen every week, in some way, shape, or form, subconsciously, it's programming you in the way you think and act.
Yeah.
And that's why it's up to you to decide, hey, is this the type of, people that I'm going to listen to? Is that the sort of direction I want to go in? And sweet, then it's a good thing.
Yeah.
If you're like, I want to go and be a party boy and, travel around the world and just do crypto and be with a different girl every day, and probably not the, the programming for you. So you go find your own thing. Try everything once.
And mate, Gary Vee, like, so interesting because like, he was another massive digital mentor to me, and still is. Like, fuck.
Well, your content game is something that kind of
all come from Gary
differentiates you from a lot of the different people in your world, right?
It's the only thing.
Yeah.
Like, we all have different strategies and a story and all the rest of it, but like, the reality is, brand is what separates Louis Vuitton from the handbag you buy at Parkley Markets, right? Like, and all of the stuff that I do originated from listening to Gary Vee's content for years and years and years and years and years.
Mm-hmm. You were chatting to Yui, for those who don't listen, he's sitting in here as our producer right now. And he's built his business off the back of TikTok. You've built a lot of what you've done off the back of your organic content strategies as well. It's like, it's crazy what can happen when you start putting yourself out there and you're not you don't have that fear of rejection or fear of fucking things up or fear of judgment, right?
It's true. I mean, there's positives and negatives to it, right? You just got to make sure the positives outweigh the negatives, which,
100%.
Which they do.
So back onto your journey, you bought that property. At what part do you start to leverage that and start turning one property into two, into three?
The next year, I was like 18 months later. So I think it was like 18, I bought the first one, and then had 18 months. It was 20 when I bought the second one. That was another 2-bedroom apartment in the next suburb down, which was Maroubra. I used Chris Gray for that purchase as my buyer's agent.
Okay, cool.
And I happened to buy in the block that he also owned an apartment in. So again,
a bit of a pattern emerging here.
Yeah, it's just like getting closer. Like, I wanted to be closer to the sun. And I talked to a lot of prospective clients and clients around that. It's like, you can look at everything through different lenses, So I looked at Chris through, he's a buyer's agent, and I'm definitely going to get value out of paying him for a service. But what else can I get out of it? And for me, it was like a relationship. It was connections. It was all the stuff that I didn't know.
But it's also, like we said, that subconscious leveling up that you're getting from surrounding yourself more and more with people like that.
For sure, 100%. And then off the back of the second one, I was like, that was fully committed. Like, property was my thing. That was what I was going to do forever. And then, mate, it was just like, okay, how do I get number 3? And then number 3 was in Newcastle. The reason it come about in Newcastle because I moved up there for my missus when I was 21.
Yep.
Rented a place for a little while in a share house, and I was like, fuck this. And then I ended up buying a place, and then another one. And then it's just like the snowball effect.
At what point do you take your kind of experience and success with buying property for yourself and be like, I'm going to open up my own buyer's advocacy, buyer's agency firm, which you've built over the last, 3-4 years we were just discussing?
Yeah.
At what point does that decision happen and you're like, I'm going to go do this? I've done it for myself. I've got some evidence here, which I think if you're ever charging a service or any sort of consulting to people, you better have done it yourself first. At what point do you say, I'm going to make this a business and do it for other people?
So when I moved to Newcastle when I was 21, I clearly said to my girlfriend, I said, I'm going to be up here for 2 years and then I'm going to move back to Sydney and I'm going to get into real estate. She goes, okay. So 21, I move up there. 23, I turned 23, and literally to the day that I started up there with the company, I finished with that same company. It was the October long weekend. I started on after the October long weekend, and I finished with them 2 years later before the October long weekend. It was just like weird that it happened like that. And then I moved back to Sydney, and I got a job inside of another firm. I didn't start my own business. I got a job inside of another firm because I knew property and investing, but I didn't know how to run a business. I didn't know how to provide a service. I didn't know how to do it for other people. And mate, I was rough around the edges. Like, I'm way more polished now than I was back then. Like, you can go find old podcasts where I just used to go on other people's podcasts as like a young investor, and I did heaps of that shit because I started to build my brand because I knew mentally that I wanted to, have a brand through Gary Vee.
Of course.
And then, started with another company. And the great thing about coming from like a construction and mining background is that, like, I had zero idea about sales, like zero. All I knew was I was quite a confident person. I could talk to anyone. I'd go to an event and I'd just shake someone's hand and be like, hey, how you going? So I would like get on these calls where people are like, oh, you got to sell like this and do this shit. And I was like, fuck that. Yeah. I would just like cold call nonstop. And I was just like this young larrikin calling people, hey mate, how you going? You want to buy a property?
Yeah.
Like, oh, this is not a normal real estate call that I received. And it worked. So like from when I started with those guys
and imagine it was just yourself when you started, right?
But yeah, I started inside of another firm
Yep.
by myself as a commission-only contractor. So it was kill what you catch, or whatever the saying is. So from October that year to the October the following year, I was there for 12 months. I become their highest performer.
What do you put that down to?
Not knowing.
Not knowing. Yeah.
Like naivety. Naivety and not having another option. Because I was like, I had a finite amount of money left that I had to live on for that period of time. And I fully committed to it. And I was like, I'm one of these people who looks at someone and Hormozy says it a little bit more eloquently. He says it's a superiority complex where he's like, you think you're genuinely better than people. So I walked into this off and I was like, who the fuck are all these guys and girls? And I'm like, fucking idiots, I'll beat you. So like all of a sudden I had this internal competition where I was like, I'll fucking show what you.
And that's why comms only is great as well. Like if you want to get the best out of yourself, like comms only will scare a lot of people off. But if you truly want to fucking push yourself.
Well, if you're good, absolutely.
Well, exactly. But if you want to find out how good you really are. Because if you can't get it done when you only eat, if you, like you said, if you can only fucking eat what you catch, then if you can't get it done in a comms only environment, you're probably not going to sell more in a more safe environment like that.
Exactly.
So you do that for how long before you go out on your own?
So it was an interesting journey. So I knew when I started, I was like, all right, okay, I'm going to do 3 months, so October to December 2019. That was my testing period. I need to learn how to do a sales call. I need to learn how to run a client. I need to get my first clients. And then January, my first staff member was starting, which was a videographer. So my first ever hire was a videographer.
So smart.
Off the back of
no one else would have their first hire as a videographer.
It was the funniest shit ever. So I'm this guy in the eastern suburbs of Sydney, which is like, for people who don't know the eastern suburbs, it's like the most posh place in Australia. And all the agents think they're fucking king shit. They dress up in all these fancy suits. So I'd rock up at these open for inspections. Blackie, Sam Black is his name. He still works with me today. He runs my Newcastle office. He wasn't a videographer. He was an aircraft maintenance engineer who was my housemate at the time, who hated his job.
I love this shit.
And I said, bro, you hate your fucking job.
Yeah.
You take photos because you love surfing and you used to go surfing all the time. Take photos. Like, why don't you just come and work with me and be my videographer? So we went and bought all the equipment, literally had zero idea. During the day, he would research on YouTube how to use the camera. And I'm like, all right, bro, we're going to go to a meeting. So he'd follow me around with the camera. We'd rock up at these open for inspections in the eastern side of Sydney. No one knew who I was. And I'd have a guy with a camera behind me. And they'd be like,
that already builds some sort of credibility,
fuck
right?
Is this guy?
Like, who is this guy?
It was hilarious. And to be honest, I wouldn't do that again now.
Okay.
Because I'm a little bit more like, people know who I am. Yeah. You've got like a self-image you got to uphold. But back then I was like, no one knows who the fuck I am, and I don't care.
Throwing out the rule book is like probably the way you were able to get to where you were. So
that's how it happened. So I started with Sam, and then just off the back of that, like a lot of people were like, who the fuck is this guy? Who is this guy? Who is this guy? And then I'm starting to produce content every week. I'm doing a weekly vlog. I'm doing market wraps with real estate agents. They're sharing it to their network, and they're just seeing Jack Henderson everywhere.
Yes.
And then like off the back of people seeing my name, then I start backing up with results. I start buying a fuckload of property. That year in 2021, I did 150 transactions in the eastern suburbs, which for a buyer's agent is a fuckload of transactions. I'm not wearing a suit. I've got shorts on, a t-shirt.
Not shorts. Not shorts.
No shit.
I'm like, maybe smart casual or something.
And then I just got real rogue for a while there. I used to wear like fucking really bright flamingo shirts from like JJ's and shit.
I remember though. I know the light teal color and the pink flamingos.
I just used to wear the most fucked up stuff. But man, it was funny and it built brand quickly. And then, I hired a few more people, like associates, people on the phones for me. And I just kept putting all the money back into the business. And again, I got pretty loose that year, like I said. And then 2021, I went like balls to the wall, and that was when I went sober. I was like, sweet, let's do this. We did 155 transactions in the eastern suburbs, like from zero, which is fucking.
That is crazy,
so
dude.
People saw me everywhere, and then all of a sudden, I just was like, I don't like this anymore.
That's like one every 2-3 days, almost.
It was about 3 weeks, and like an average purchase price of $1.5 to $2 million. So
Mental, man.
We're making big bickies. So I remember the first day I made $100,000. I was like, I just made in one day what I made in a whole year.
Doesn't that fuck with you when you do that? It's the best.
I was like, what the fuck? And like we had no cost to business. It was like,
fuck, dude.
And that was it. That was like people really knew me. And I did a few really high profile deals. Like I bought for Nick Kyrgios, I bought for Babak Moini and Mon Barangaroo, I bought for Dave Hughes and like shit like that. Yeah. And dude, all that shit just started from me cold calling motherfuckers.
So with that, like I can't believe you did 155 like sales in your first year. Like I feel like, and obviously I'm not in the world of real estate, so from the outside looking in, buyer's agents have only started to really rise in popularity, I'd say the last 3, 4, 5 years. Why do you think that is, and what is the role of a buyer's agent? Because there'll be people listening, I guarantee, that don't know what a buyer's agent is. Everyone knows real estate agents, but what's the role of a buyer's agent?
So there's two facets to it. Originally, what I did was I was in the owner-occupier market. So I used to buy properties for owner-occupiers, people who wanted their new family homes.
Yeah.
That was my role, which the reason people use this in that space is to get access to off-market properties. It's to deal with the agents, negotiate on their behalf. It's to take all the headaches out of it, essentially. And you get paid handsomely for it, just like a good real estate agent does. Then the other side was the investment side, which was, that is part of it. Yeah, you get access to stock and all the rest, but people come to me now for IP. They want a strategy. You know, we do a lot of building and renovation and developing. Like people want access to that. And there was a transition phase in the business because that year that I did 155 transactions, like it was nearly all owner occupier. I was the guy doing the deals. I'm in the East. I'm driving around. I'm doing inspections. I'm meeting all these people everywhere. And I got to the end of that year and I was like, fuck. I made a lot. I think I made like near $4 million as a service, like service fees, a lot of dough. And
I was like up there with the best agents in the country.
Yeah, I would have been one of the. I was other than Simon Cohen that year in the East, there wouldn't have been anyone who did more deals. That's
crazy.
And I was just like, fuck, I just didn't like it.
And you're only in the game for like a year or two at this point, right?
The first year I did 30 transactions. So from the 2020, then 21 I did 155, and then 22 I transitioned the business because it's that part of the industry. It's very relationships driven. There's no scale to it. It's who loves you and who doesn't love you, who's going to refer you business, who's going to say good things about you. And it's very fake. It's very pretentious. And I was like, I could feel myself going into that, you know, I'm like having lunch with these people. I'm like, I would never fucking spend time with you if I wasn't going to get something out of this, you know? And I'm like doing all this shit that I wouldn't do and it wasn't me. And I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. So then, mate, like I fucking transitioned the business and people would have noticed it too. Like me, like all of a sudden everywhere. And then like, I was like, nah, I'm not doing owner occupier anymore. Yeah. And that's when I transitioned the business. I'm like, my forte is I know how to invest. I know how to make money in property. I shouldn't be fucking someone's slave trying to buy them an owner occupier home. I should be advising people on how to do what I can do.
Yeah.
And that was the transition phase. It was like 2022, 2023, sorry, which was last year. So 22 to 23 was when I was like changing the business from me being the face of it, owner occupier, eastern suburbs, to come and use us because you can do what I can do, essentially, which is where we're at now. And then, you know, like now I've solidified that and the change has happened and then we run the business very differently now. Like we're 100% up on the same time last year.
Wow.
So now I know my niche and what I like I thoroughly enjoy what I do now. I look at no properties. I do no in the market stuff. I don't do with any real estate agents. I don't rely on one person to give me business except for Mark Zuckerberg, and everything's self-generated. So I can solely be myself because I rely on no one for nothing.
Yeah. Particularly, I imagine in the East with the relationships, you'd have to be
fucking horseshit,
particular what you say,
not just
how
the
you
East.
say it.
To give you an example, this is something that was one of my biggest learnings. I was a best man in a wedding, got blind drunk, the loose hendo come out again, and I completely fucked up the speech.
Yeah.
Like made an absolute cock of myself. That whole wedding was real estate agents. After that wedding, how many of them do you reckon spoke good of me?
Yeah.
Zilch. And I was like, because that was at the stage where I was transitioning the business. I'm like, if that was my whole business, you go from being this superstar one day to having no business the next. It's all referral. This person refers you, that person says good words about you, like, and that would have completely gone. And that was like the thing to me. It was like, okay, you need to stop drinking in public for one.
Yeah.
And the second thing was you don't ever want to rely on someone else to give you business. Never. And I was like, that solidified that. And then I was like, fuck, okay.
So no regrets from that transformation for the business?
Yeah. No.
No, not from that night.
Yeah.
I'm sure you would have done things differently.
Definitely regrets from that night. But at the same time, there's learnings. No, nothing. Because I had to go through that because I learned the owner-occupier stuff. I was the superstar. I was the guy on Lux listings. I got approached for Lux listings in the first season. Yeah. I was that guy.
Yeah.
And it was great because at that time I was chasing money because I didn't have money. I was like, how can I earn the most amount of money? Get big fees, get paid 80, 100, you know, whatever it was to buy properties for people. But then, like you said, you get money and then all of a sudden you get over that because, you've got money now, you can make money and you're like, fuck this, I can't do this forever.
Now, how do I want to earn the money, right?
That's right. And I was like, my strong point is like, I can create content. I'm good at breaking things down for people and making it simple. And I love to do it. So now I'm like, clients come to me and they look at me like an advisor, not like a necessity. Like most real estate agents look at it as a necessity. Like, oh, I got to sell my house. Oh, fuck, I got to use a real estate agent.
An agent, yeah.
When people come to me and probably similar to Graham, it's like, you know lots more than what we know. So can you please teach us and do it for us?
Yeah.
So now my whole day is just client calls. It's all strategy and like.
So what's with like, obviously we don't have time for you to lay out your whole system here, but what's your point of difference? What's the essence of what you guys do to get better returns for property investors? What would you say to that?
Yeah. So essentially the essence to get better returns for investors is to be an active investor without being an active investor. So if I was to say to you right now, this is where to buy, go buy this. When you buy that property, make sure that you can spend X amount of dollars on it and you'll get a reval of this and refinance that equity, go buy another one. You wouldn't know how to do that. And a lot of people don't know how to renovate. They don't know how to develop. They don't know what properties to buy. They don't know the taxation benefits of doing it. They don't know the structuring so they don't have to hit serviceability limits, like all that stuff. And a lot of buyers agents have no fucking idea either because they've never done it for themselves.
Yeah.
Like I haven't built a $35 million portfolio in fucking 9 years from not knowing how to do it.
Yeah.
Every time I hit a roadblock, I'm like, all right, how do I get through this one?
Yeah. So it's the strategy, it's the process, it's all the IP. A lot of it is.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people who do it differently to me, and there's probably people who do it differently to me who have built much more than me, but no one who's as young as me.
It's a $35 million property portfolio at 27.
Yeah, it's a little bit more than that. I got a couple of $5 million transactions settling soon. So I can't wait to change my ads online to have it more.
Shit, when's it settling? We might delay the podcast going out so we can put that out.
I got a $5.5 million transaction settling in September. So when that settles, it'll be 40 something, and then I'll get everything else revalued.
Yeah, I want to ask you some things about kind of the property market and everything there. I know you guys just look on your website. You do both commercial and residential.
Yeah.
In terms of for people looking at investments, what are the pros and cons of each, and which sort of investors is commercial suitable for? Because it's not for everyone.
Yeah. So. Who are the listeners to this podcast mainly?
Mainly, like, I'd say startup culture, entrepreneurs.
Cool. Okay, so people who are getting started in property.
No, some people definitely have a decent net worth for sure.
The strategy, regardless if it's property or anything, before you can actually generate cash flow of any asset, whether it's property, shares, whatever, you need capital to generate it with, right? So before you can generate cash flow, you need capital. How do we create capital? The way that we create capital is in property using leverage. So what I think people get wrong is they go, okay, should I go commercial or should I go residential? That shouldn't be a question. It's how do I generate capital the fastest? And to generate capital, residential wins every day of the week because you need to put less in, you get more leverage, and it's cheaper to do it. Commercial has everything you got to pay for. You got to pay for your valuations. You've got to it's much more of a business transaction than resi. So residential is great to build capital. You can put $100,000 in, get $600,000 from the bank, have control of a $700,000 asset, and get growth on that $700,000 asset. But then as you go through your investing journey, and this is the stage that I'm essentially at now, is I've got a lot of residential property. That grows at 5, 6, 7, 8, 10% per annum. On $35 million, I'm making $2.5 to $4 million a year in growth. Not cash flow, in growth. Bang, 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 generates. Eventually you get to a point where you don't need more growth, right? Because you're generating enough growth. You need to do something with that growth. So the strategy that I personally use is you get to a stage where you've got enough of a gross asset base. Let's say you're carrying 80% debt on that. So let's say you got $10 million worth of assets, you got $8 million worth of debt, you got $2 million worth of net equity, which is not really $2 million worth of net equity because if you sell it down, by the time you pay tax and everything else, you're left with nothing. What you need to happen now is you need your $8 million of debt to stay the same and you need your $10 million of assets to go from 10 to 20. Because now all of a sudden $8 million against $20 million is not as relative, right? So your LVR goes from being at 80% to being at 40% just from one market cycle.
Yeah.
Then you hold it for another market cycle, it goes from 20 to 40, your $8 million worth of debt stays the same. And this is why we believe in interest-only repayments. Because in the same time, if you were to pay that, let's say you got a 30-year mortgage for $8 million, it'd take you 30 years to pay $8 million down to zero. And if you look at Graham Holmes' stuff, he talks about, over that same period of time, you're likely to pay double back in interest. So you pay your $8 million down in capital, plus you'll pay another $8 million in interest.
These days,
so you've actually paid $16 million.
Yeah.
But in that same 30 years, the assets go from being worth 10 mil to 20 mil to 40 mil to 80 mil in the same time it takes you to pay down 8. So would you rather be more tax effective on trying to pay down 8, or would you rather focus on turning your 20 into 40 or 40 into 80?
Yeah.
So the surplus cash flow that you use, instead of paying your debt down to 0, you should use it to cash flow more debt. Because by cash flowing more debt, you can control more assets. And when the market moves by 10, 20, 30%, you make more money. And that's the fundamental thing. It's like, how do we make more capital? And then when we have that capital, we pay out our debt by selling down some assets. So we sell our 20 million down, pay out our 8 million in debt, pay some CGT and all the rest of it. You might net 9 or 10 million bucks. Now with that 9 or 10 million that has no cost associated with it because you haven't got debt anymore, you then invest that money into something that's going to generate cash flow. And you can use commercial because you can put 10 million into 30 million worth of commercial. If you leverage it, say, put 10 in, borrow 20, get 30. 30 you'd probably produce at 6%. What's that? What's 6% of 30 million?
You got a calculator there?
6% of 10 million is what, 600? So it's like 1.8 million bucks. That's right. Yeah, 1218. That's it. $1.8 million worth of income. On 20 million worth of debt, you might be paying 1.2 of interest, give or take 1.8. Yeah, 1.2 of interest. You're 600 grand positive. You can use that 600 grand for lifestyle, or you can use that 600 grand to pay down the debt and generate more cash flow. That's how you generate. There's a transition page. You go from having no money to building the wealth to transitioning the wealth into something that's going to generate your cash flow. You don't go from having nothing and then building wealth and cash flow at the same time.
Yeah, you can't really do both at the same time, right?
You can, but it's much slower.
Slower, right?
Much slower.
Of course.
Because you need to eliminate debt to free up the cash. So the fastest way to eliminate debt is to have growth so you can sell it down and eliminate.
So what do you think is the average length you'd hold a property for as you're trying to expand?
Forever.
Forever.
Yeah, I mean, it depends when you start, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm 27 and I don't need passive income for a fucking long time.
yeah.
My business generates my income, so that's how I live. But
Yeah.
eventually I get to a stage where one day maybe I want to. It's about having the option.
So let me, because that makes a lot of sense to me. A lot of people that, haven't really started to think about this, it might be, well, you just said a lot of numbers and I'm not quite following, right? Let's just use an example of someone who could be listening to this podcast, right? Let's just say someone's started their own business, done quite well. They're not set up forever, but let's just say they have 200, 300, 400 grand in cash that they want to go and invest. If you were in that sort of situation and you had decent serviceability based on compared to the amount of money that you had in the bank, how would you go spend that, say, 300,
We deal with
400
heaps
grand?
of these kind of people. So heaps of business owners who have generated some really good cash. The cash is sitting in the bank and now they want to go and start to build a portfolio. The thing that I wouldn't do is I wouldn't go buy an owner-occupier property. That is a trap. I can assure you, buying an owner-occupier property and taking on debt to do that is a trap to feeling broke forever because it's all paid with after-tax income.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, that's 99% what people do. They go out there, they buy an owner-occupier home, they get a 30-year mortgage and they pay minimum repayments. They're like, fuck yeah, we're on. Now, sure.
The Australian dream, huh?
Well, you do get capital gains tax-free growth. That's true.
That's the good point, yeah, right?
But it's not capital gains tax-free because to get the capital gains tax-free growth, you've just paid income tax
paid it up
for
front.
30 years, income tax to pay your mortgage with after-tax income. So you work out to pay a $500,000 mortgage off. If it cost you $1 million in income over that 30 years, you have to earn $2 million or $1.8 to $2 million worth of income to pay $800,000 in tax to then pay your $1 million off mortgage over a 30-year period.
I don't think I've ever really heard anyone else say that apart from you, to articulate it like that.
Because that's what happens. And then on top of that, most people won't have the one property for 30 years. They keep increasing that non-deductible debt because when you earn more money and you keep up with the Joneses, you want to live in a better suburb, you want to get a better mortgage, you want to drive a better car, you want your kids to go to better schools and all the rest of it, and that's the debt track. And that's what happens. And then people go, oh, fuck, I'm 45 now. I've got a great owner-occupier home that might be worth $3, $4, $5 million bucks. I've got $2 million worth of debt, but my kids are still in school and I want to retire at 60, but I can't sell my house when I'm 60 because my kids will still live at home. So I can't sell my house. So you don't have any money because all your money's in your owner-occupier home and you've got too much pride to sell it down. So you actually are broke.
Yeah.
And then you'll die and your kids inherit it and they sell it and they're happy.
And they got the money, right?
That is the story for 80% of people.
Yeah.
Because an owner-occupier home, sure, it is capital gains tax-free and all the rest of it, but most people won't sell it. So it's not worth anything. So what I believe a much better strategy is never to buy an owner-occupier home. You have a fee every week called rent, and that fee is to have a roof over your head. And you can choose to live wherever the fuck you want. And with all of your other money, it should be put into investments because eventually investments will give you a lifestyle. And with the money that they give you, you can go pay for whatever the fuck you want to pay for. And while you're doing it, it's all tax deductible. Or your mortgage repayments are tax deductible, or your interest expenses are tax, or your repayments and council rates, everything is deductible, which means you pay for it with pre-tax income. And yes, one day you will pay capital gains tax free. But guess what? In Australia, the government give us a 50% discount on capital gains tax if we own the property or any asset for longer than 12 months. So even if you're on the highest taxable income of 47 cents in the dollar right now, you'll get a 50% discount on that, which means you pay tax at 23.5 cents. So 23.5 cents you'll pay on capital gains, but you'll pay 50% income tax for your whole fucking life to get a capital gains tax.
So you're actually saving like half.
You're not saving any money.
No, by doing it this way.
It's costing you money.
I'm saying, yeah, like if you look at it, if you break it down that way, you're actually 25% better off doing it the way you've just laid out.
Exactly. But people, and the capital gains tax-free growth that you get comes at the end, right? Comes at the end. But all of this time you've struggled.
Yeah.
Because that's what people do. They tie up 50 to 60% of their income in paying their mortgage, most Australians. So why would you do that when you could live a much more happy life? People see rent money as dead money, bring the microphone up. People see rent money as dead money, which is the truth if you do nothing else with your other money.
Yeah.
Or if you're smart, you look at rent money as the best money that you can spend, because I live right now in Watsons Bay in probably a house that's worth $8 million. It cost me $1,900 a week to live there.
Yeah.
If I was to buy that house, first things first, I need to put down a 20% deposit minimum. So I need 1.6 million in cash. So I'd tie up that capital, gone. So there's opportunity cost in that. Then I'd have a mortgage of $5.5 to $6 million, give or take. At 6.5% interest would cost me about 400 grand just in interest a year, post-tax. So to pay 400, you've got to earn 800.
Fuck.
I live there for less than 100 grand a year.
Yeah.
And guess what? A portion of it's tax deductible because I got a home office.
See, this is why I've started
and then with
to
the
get
savings that you earn, so instead of paying 800, because everyone wants to live in a better property, right? Over time, everyone wants to live in a better property. I don't know anyone who goes, unless you're Warren Buffett, live in the same house when you're worth fucking 100 billion. No one wants to do that.
Still drives like it's fucking 20-year-old Toyota or
That's
something
right.
like that.
But not many Australians are like Warren Buffett. But yeah, that's the thing. And it works much better when you earn more money. Tax deductions when you earn over 190,000 a year are much better because every dollar you pay out, you get 47 cents of that back.
So let's just say someone for me that
I didn't answer your question, did I?
no, let's do that. So
What I would do is I would use that cash. I would not. That's what I was going. I wouldn't go buy an owner-occupier property. Go and rent. Do whatever you want. Rent. Enjoy something nice, and then use the cash to go and put into investments. I'd probably use it to buy one investment. I believe I have, I think, about 15 properties now, and that is a complete head fuck. I have staff that manage it now. I could not imagine these people have like 50, 100. Like, yeah, I see all these guys who have massive properties and they're in low socioeconomic areas. It would be disastrous.
because that was going to be another question, right? Let's just say someone wanted to invest $2 million, or their capacity was at $2 million. Would you be better off doing one $2 million property, two $1 millions, or four $500,000?
So I probably wouldn't go and buy one $2 million single asset. And the reason for that is just simply due to the yield on it would be like 2 or 3%, and it'd cost a fortune to own it. I would probably split it into two $1 million purchases. And this is when you can get really strategic, right? If you've only got $2 million worth of borrowing capacity and you go buy whatever it is, but you use that $2 million, you're capped until you dramatically decrease your debt or you increase your serviceability.
Yeah.
If you get creative with structuring and you do a bit of non-conforming lending and you use trusts or companies to do that, you could have that $2 million worth of debt inside of an entity, make sure that entity is self-sufficient, meaning the rental income's covering all the expenses, park that to the side, get a letter from the accountant that says this entity is self-sufficient or something along those lines, bang, and then set up a new entity and get another $2 million and then do that again and then do that again. And if you're a business owner and you're generating a lot of cash through your business, so you've got a really cash flow positive business and you're actually using cash for deposits in properties, that strategy works a treat because you're not using debt for the deposits.
Yeah.
So you're only carrying 80% debt. And if you've got a property yielding 5.5%, 6% gross, it'll wash its own face.
Yeah.
If you're using equity for the deposits, you're carrying 100% debt, which is a little bit harder to do. And just an FYI for people, I'm not a financial planner. I'm not a mortgage broker. This is just from actual experience of doing this shit.
It's just fucking crazy, man. Like, I've been living in this business world for like 6 years, going really hard on that and like making more money. And then I start having people like you and Graham on. I'm fucking, my mind is consistently blown. Like, I've got owner occupier, man. I'm sorry to break the news. The more I talk to people
Don't
like you
break the news
two,
to me. I don't give a fuck.
I fucking know. I realize.
I feel sorry for you.
I know. There was a lot of lessons from that podcast. There's a lot of lessons from this one, and I think I'm in the process now where it's like, dude, I just had that like naive. Talk about naive. Like I didn't grow up with a lot of money. I'm like, didn't really want to think too much about it or concern myself. I'm just like, I'll make more. Like, why do I need to, go and invest when I can just always have businesses that, make money? But it's like, dude, that's such a stupid way to think.
Well, mate, if you have both, it's the best.
Oh, of course.
if you have a great investment portfolio, whether it's property, shares, businesses, whatever it is, and you have a great income source, mate, you've hit the kahuna.
But if you're just on the income source and you're running businesses, then you're always going to be on that, like a different version of the rat race, right? I think it's important for people that have made that bit of money to start thinking a little bit long term as well.
I listened to something only recently, and it was like, I thought about it for fucking ages after it. So Christina Carlson, have you heard of her before? Kika K, founder of Kika K.
Oh, yeah, I know that.
Incredible story. They grew that business 0 to 100 million in revenue, and sadly they ended up going into liquidation.
Like a year ago or something.
I heard her talk at an event, and she's a beautiful lady, and I can't remember. Someone asked a question. Someone was asking a question. Anyway, she said, I was left with nothing after the company. We had to get out of the company. And I asked a question. I was like, do you ever look back now and like think about maybe I should have taken some money off the table?
Yeah.
And I'm like, you grew a business from 0 to 100 million. You're generating $2 million a month, $2 million a week, in revenue. And let's hypothetically say they were running on razor thin margins. I'd say 2 or 3% a year. You could have pulled a little bit of money out of that.
So
along the journey,
she didn't pull like...
No, they're all in, man. Like most business owners are. They're like all in, right? And all in works when it works,
I think of business like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Every time I get up a little bit, I'm like, I'm going to take some off the table. So if shit goes down, I can only go back down to...
Yeah, like just pulling some off and putting it in assets. It's just like...
Yeah.
You're always safe. I always say this to like first home buyers where I'm like, let's hypothetically say you're a first home buyer right now. You qualify for the first home buyer schemes in New South Wales. 5% deposit.
What's the max that a house can be worth to get that?
I
believe like 800,000.
I think it's 800,000 to get full exemption, and then 800 to 900 you get a
partial.
Yeah, but let's just say you did 800,000. Hence the reason we love Newcastle so much. 800,000 or less, 5% deposit, no lender's mortgage insurance. You got 40 grand. You put that into that. You can fuck everything in your life up for the next 10 years. Go travel, drink piss, hang out with different partners, do everything. All you need to do is just make sure you can pay your mortgage.
Yeah.
Once a week, once a month, whatever it is. You can come back after cooking your whole life up for 10 years and you're still going to have an asset that is highly likely to be worth double or triple what you paid for it. And that's your nest egg. Like you just need to make that one decision to go, okay, I got to save 40 grand, put that into a property. After 12 months, if I don't live in it, I can rent it out. Most of the repayments will be covered. Go and enjoy my life. And then come back to it and it's there. And like a property over the long run will grow in value. Yeah. Like as long as we have this thing called inflation and we run on a fiat monetary system, property prices will grow. That is a fact. So it will be worth more than what you paid for it. And like everything's okay once you do that. There's very few other assets where you can do that. Shares and equities, I believe, are great investments as well. The issue with it and the reason people don't build wealth with them for the most part is because you need to be consistent with it. How hard do people struggle with consistency in life?
It's one of the biggest challenges.
That's right. So if I said to you, okay, shares or property, and you said, oh, shares, and I say, okay, make sure you invest $200 a week for the next 20 years. You reckon they do it? No, because I want to go to Vanuatu next year. So I'll just pull the 200 away. With property, you can't do that. You have a mortgage to pay. It's a forced savings account.
Yeah.
That's why property will win over shares. And you've got leverage and all the other things. But like very, very few people can be consistent with investing money. If superannuation was an option in Australia, no one would have it.
Yeah.
The only reason superannuation works is because you can't fucking touch the money and it comes out of your pay before you get it. So it's interesting, man.
So you're all in. I imagine like you don't really have much in stocks. You're all in on property.
I got a business. That's my stock.
Yeah.
Why would I invest in someone else's business when I can invest in my own and control it?
Yeah.
And just sorry before I jump. Once you invest in property once, you completely keep them separate. Your business is your business. All the money that comes out of that goes back into it. You do whatever you want with it, and your property is your property. Any equity that's created goes back into it. So you don't really need to mix the two. You don't need to keep pulling money out of your business for deposits to go buy more if you don't want to. If you want to invest aggressively and all the rest of it, you can. But once you've got the first one and that's ticking over and it goes from 800 to $1 million, from $1 million to 1.2, you pull out the equity, you use that equity for the deposit on the next one. The only thing the business does or your job or whatever it is just to provide serviceability to the banks. That's it. And to provide cash flow to, cover the mortgage repayment.
So on like, I think on this, like now I know this is a question you're going to get asked a lot, and this is a podcast. Like I don't pretty fucking busy, believe it or not. I don't get to listen to every single podcast I do back. This would definitely be one of the ones that I listen.
Make sure you listen.
Listen back.
Cash.
Listen
This
back
one's
to.
just, this is just all about cash.
Yeah, I know. What are some of the areas, because I know you guys operate all across the country in terms of Henderson Advocacy.
Yeah.
What are some of the areas for you when you're looking at your investment? Because it's always great to you can tell people, oh yes, fucking this and that, but the people are doing themselves is often a good place to look in terms of opportunity and what they're doing with your money. In terms of real estate and opportunities, everyone's looking for the next fucking, gold rush.
It's the wrong thing to do. That fundamentally is the wrong thing to do. So when I tell people, the reason a lot of these buyers agents don't have offices is because they constantly change where they buy. I have fixed offices in Brisbane, Newcastle, Sydney, and Melbourne. Mm-hmm. I will always buy there to the day that I die. Why would you change? Do you know where Point Piper is?
Yes, yep.
Do you reckon Point Piper has gotten better or worse over the last 100 years?
Oh, it's fucking probably been pretty beautiful the whole time.
What about Toorak in Melbourne?
I don't know.
Toorak's the best suburb in Melbourne. What about New Farm? Have those areas gotten better or worse over time? They've gotten better.
They're only going to get better, right?
Of course. So if a good quality location only gets better as time goes on, why would you invest anywhere else? The issue is people always want to get rich overnight.
It's the quick money, right? It's that temptation.
Of course. And how many people who if quick money was the solution, everyone would be rich because quick money, crypto, let's go. We're in. The next hotspot, let's go. We're in. Doesn't work.
So it's not about, the Olympic Games in Brisbane, let's go there, the new airport out west.
It doesn't work. It's horseshit.
Yeah.
Sure, you probably will do well if you get in at the right time and all the rest of it. But if we're buying something for 20 or 30 years, just like Warren Buffett says with buying index, you can't beat the market.
Yeah.
You can't. Maybe the top 0.1% can beat the market. But unfortunately, most people are part of the 99.9, so it's not working. So we just buy the best quality locations we can buy for our money in areas where it's not cheap. It's never going to be cheap. But I can assure you it's cheaper today than it will be in 10 years' time.
Yeah.
And that's the fundamental thing I always say to people. Point Piper, you know what it is? Yep. You reckon that's more expensive today than it was 20 years ago? Yeah. You reckon it's going to be more expensive in 20 years' time? Yeah. Why would you invest anywhere else?
It's getting to the point you can barely buy a property under 50 million if you're lucky.
Aussie John's got his place for sale now.
It's 200 million or something?
He reckons he hit 250, so interesting.
Shit, dude.
But that's the fundamental you think about.
Yeah.
It's if I want to invest in property, I want to invest in a location where the demographic who live there are strong. Mm-hmm. A lot of these areas people invest into, go and walk the streets. You wouldn't live there. I can fucking assure you. So if I wouldn't live there, I don't want to invest there.
Yeah, that's actually really good because you hear people, okay, where's opportunities to get in, and a lot of people say Campbelltown, you can still buy a house for X, Y, Z.
Campbelltown's not too bad.
Hey, I grew up in the Southwest, so
there's a lot of fucked areas, man. A lot of people invest in Cairns or Gladstone or some of these areas in Perth, and I'm before you buy something there, pay $500, get on a plane, fly there, hire a car from Hertz, drive out to the area, and tell me if you'd live there. And if you wouldn't live there, there is a very high probability people similar to yourself, earning similar money, who have similar interest, also won't live there. Mm-hmm. So and the reason this belief system of mine has formed is because my parents got fucked by cocksuckers like these people who sell all this shit. They bought an off-the-plan house in Truganina. If anyone knows where Truganina is, that's in a fucked up place in Melbourne. New house and land estate. It was going to be the next big thing. And they bought an off-the-plan apartment in a suburb called Marcoola on the Sunshine Coast. Marcoola, they sold 11 years after they bought it for $20,000 less than they paid for it. And Truganina, they broke even on. So I've seen the flip side of not doing the good thing. It wasn't good. And you talk about confidence. Imagine what that does to your financial confidence when you think, we're working class people, we're going to put our money into something and we're going to create a better financial future for our family. Some fuckwit sells you some shithole because they get a 5 or 6% commission. They have zero belief in the location. They'd never buy something there themselves. And then they just wreck someone's financial future because they make a little bit of dough. What the fuck?
And as well, it takes a lot for people that, for you, it's fine. The people that live and breathe that world, you can probably go and spot an opportunity in an area better than most. But for people that don't want to spend so much time thinking about it, I feel safe because my property is in Sydney, is in a couple kilometres from the CBD. So it's great, I know, man. I'm never going to fucking lose. I own Occupy, obviously some lessons to learn there.
You won't lose,
but I'm never going to lose with that. I know at the end of the day, it's already grown 50% in 4 years.
Thanks for coming.
You know what I mean?
Capital gains tax free.
Exactly. There you go. So there's benefits to that.
Yeah, but back to the questions around locations, if you have, I'll tell people exactly where we buy. If you have 900 to 1.2, we'd be buying within 10 k's of Brisbane CBD, character style Queenslander home. On the north side of the city, you'll probably get up to sort of the Chermside region, south side, the Nathan region. Look them up on Google.
Yep.
Newcastle, within 15 k's of Newcastle CBD. Massive advocates for that marketplace. Very, very similar to Brisbane. You can get into that market a little bit cheaper. You probably get in with 600 plus or minus in places like Beresfield and Cardiff. You will need to do some work to the properties though. If you got 800 at 1.2, you'll get into some of the best suburbs. Geelong in Victoria, if you're a Melbourneian or a Victorian or whatever you want to call yourselves, Geelong, great area. On the other side of the bay, Frankston, just as good. You can get into those marketplaces. Geelong you get into for 500 or 600. Frankston, 750 to 800. And
Frankston gets a bad rap, but it's actually fucking beautiful if you're out on
dude,
the water.
it's fucking. Newcastle used to get a bad rap too. So did all the suburbs in Brisbane until they don't get a bad rap and houses selling there for $2 million. Mate, Frankston's just gentrifying. It's by the water.
The beaches there all the way down to Mornington are some of the because
So
I'm not.
good.
They're just fucking beautiful, man.
Yeah, it's
like
a great
I've spent
spot.
some time there. And I really
35
enjoyed
minutes from the city. Like it's an
not
awesome
bad.
spot. Where haven't I said? Sydney, obviously Sydney's a higher purchase price. We buy a lot in the inner west for like 1.5 to 2 million. Obviously you can't go wrong in the eastern suburbs. Very expensive. If it's an investment purpose, huge land tax. North Shore, Northern Beaches, all great areas. Adelaide, just try and get as close as possible to the city.
So sometimes trying to outthink the room is where you fuck yourself.
It's always where you fuck yourself. Like it's not sometimes, it's always where you fuck yourself. If it was that easy and hotspots were the answer, there'd be gazillionaires everywhere.
But that just feels like fucking gambling to me as well. That's why I don't like crypto.
Well,
It's
it
like, how
is
do I know
gambling.
what the fucking next thing's going to be?
It is gambling. So the way that we work out whether we'll invest in somewhere or not is we obviously pay for a lot of research and data. A lot of people go, where do I get this shit from? Google, CoreLogic, whatever it is, pay for it. We look at 20 to 30 years worth of historical data and make sure that an area has consistently performed. A lot of the areas that people invest into, if I look at a 20 or 30 year chart and I have access to all of them, they do this. Nothing, COVID. I was like, of course that happens because there was trillions of dollars printed into the global economy and it just inflated all asset values. So, mate, that's the secret. Don't overcomplicate it. The earlier you can get in, the less you have to do. The later you get in, the more you have to do.
I'm fucking really glad I had this conversation with you and I got to ask these questions because for me, intuitively, that's where my head was at and that's where I felt safe and comfortable and listening to all these other people. The reason I haven't already gone out and done heaps of investments is because I'm thinking, I've got to find all these hotspots and all these opportunities for growth, but it's right there, It's a lot simpler.
Follow the money is my tagline. Where are the wealthiest people in Australia investing? I can fucking guarantee you it's not Rockhampton.
And that's the thing, like, regardless of how big our population goes or how many people, come immigrate to Australia, there's only going to be so much room in the eastern suburbs, so much room in the inner west. Yeah, sure, maybe the fringes are going to start, but like the closer you are to here, I feel like I just feel comfortable and safe.
Yeah, the better it is. Like the fringes will do well and they have done well historically and the fringes won't be the fringes in 20 years time because
that's
they'll
the thing.
keep building out and building out and
So
building
happened
out.
to my parents, and luckily enough, they weren't like your parents. And the fringe that they were on used to be the fringe and all farms, and now they've moved. They're like, fuck, it's too busy here, so we're going out, and they did well. So, but yeah,
My parents did well out of their owner-occupier homes. Like they did really well. They started in a place called Bidwell. You know what that is? They Mount Druitt. They bought there for like $2. Sold that. Bought their first house in Wilberforce for I think 180 grand or 160 grand. Sold that for just under 600. Paid 660 for the next one. Just sold that for just under 2.2 million. So like that's how they made money. And that's how most people make money. Like most people who make money at a property make money out of their owner-occupier home. So against my comments before, it's good because people buy with their heart. And when they buy with their heart, they want to be like close to the school, close to the shops. When they buy with their head, it's fucked. And they buy in some stupid area because they're like, oh, we just need the data and the metrics to make sense. But it's like, no, property is an emotional asset class. It is driven by human behavior.
Right? There's always a need for it. And it's, 100%. Let me ask you one last question before we wrap this up. Only because, like, again, I'm not a finance guy. I'm like, mainly an e-com guy, right? Well, a property guy. But I'm probably going to sound really stupid saying this, but you're the first people I've heard talking about it. Obviously, I knew they existed, but like, what are the role that non-bank lenders play, and like, what sort of scenarios do they come into play for property investors, or is that like more of a niche thing?
No, so the way that you should look at a non-bank lender, or the way that I look at a non-bank lender is they don't fall under the same code as your major lenders, which are highly regulated. So like, for example, CBA have a policy, highly unlikely they're going to bend on that policy, right? Because it's like they're a public company. This is how we lend. If you don't fall into these boxes, we don't want to lend money to you.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Non-bank lenders don't do that. So imagine it's just like an individual with a heap of cash and they're like, we have a policy of which we will slightly bend and move and we will lend on things that are higher risk. But for the privilege of that, you will pay more.
Yeah, of course.
Your rate is higher. You have a risk fee. You have a line fee. You have fees coming out the wazoo. But they have their place in the marketplace. And for a business owner especially, they can be very powerful because they're more of a common sense lender than a policy lender, is how I see them.
Yeah.
If you have a good deal, you have a good business that maybe isn't showing profit for a year because you've just invested heavily in,
whatever it may be.
Whatever it is, they will see that and be like, yeah, cool, dude. You can pay a high interest rate now and you can pay this, that. We'll probably have a slightly lower loan to value ratio to cover our risk. They just make more sense. So I always use people like Latrobe and Judo Bank and Pepper and they're easier to get money off when you get more sophisticated. Because like for me, getting finance now is the biggest head fuck you've ever seen in your life. Because there's so many entities, there's so many streams of income where money comes from. And if you take that to a bank, a credit analysis in a bank, his head will probably explode. Yeah. He's like, I've never seen this before. Where if you've got a really good broker and they place it to, a non-bank, they will look at it like a business owner would look at it.
A bit more common sense and flexibility. I think it's the best way you could have framed that to make sense for like a layman like me. So I think that makes sense, man. Tell me, what's the next 12 months look like for you in the business? And you obviously got a couple $5 million properties, $6 million properties looking.
I got a wedding venue settling in September. That's the big one. So
you're purchasing one.
Yeah, I bought one already. I bought it.
That's
the end of
mental.
last year. So that's
that
launching.
Like up around the Hunter? Or?
Hunter Valley, yeah. It's in a place called Howes Valley. So my partner will run that. So that's very exciting. And then, mate, we just opened our new Brisbane office. Just more growth, man. You're going to see a lot more of me online.
Yeah.
Graham Holm, I'm going to chase him down. I was like, by the end, one of my goals, I have all my goals on my screensaver of my phone. Yeah. For the year.
I love that.
And one of my goals was to be the most followed property person in Australia, which is 100,000 followers. And I fucking just seen Graham Holmes just shot up out of nowhere. He's on like 100,000. I'm like, motherfucker.
Yeah, his shit does well. But he's slightly different, so you know what I mean?
In my mind, we're the same. I'm like, you are taking off. Like, I think I was in front of him there, and all of a sudden he's just gone from 50 to 100. So
he's got a really strong message. So do you. And that's the thing. Like you're quite big on both Instagram and TikTok. Where's the best place people can follow you if they want to kind of
all of the above. The content's the same on both platforms. Insta, TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn. I put different stuff in. Yeah, Jack C. Henderson.
Jack C. Henderson.
C stands for Charles.
Charles. There we go. Well, Charles, thank you for doing the podcast. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you. Mate. I've learned a lot. And fucking people listening, if you got to this far right at the end, listen back to that last half an hour again and take some fucking notes.
Yeah, don't worry about my depressing story at the start.
Yeah. That's just people know so you're not with some bullshit artist. All right, done. Thank you. All right, guys, thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode or you got something out of it, do yourself a favor, do me a favor, do your friends a favor and share this with them and they can come along on this journey with us. Thanks again and I'll see you next time.